And here we are, the 2020s, the beginning of the new decade. How are we gonna start it?
Shaggy, Scooby-Doo, get a clue! We're on the road again with the teller till the end. I'm gonna sing this song all day long.
Yep, okay then. Here's to another lousy decade. Help me, help me, help me! Recently, YouTube has updated itself and people are all up in arms about, or rather 100% confused. And I can understand why, since YouTube literally never tells us anything and we basically have to figure out everything on our own and are forced to act like big boys. Even though more than 50% of the time it's YouTube's fault entirely and how they threw us under the bus 2 months ago. To simplify, YouTube has removed views, playlists, comments, and downloads on videos marked 12-. This is so that YouTube can't mine data out of someone 12 or under since it's 100% illegal to do so. People want to avoid this on their own videos, and it's pretty simple. All you have to do is go to your YouTube channel, label that all of your videos, and say that they are 13+. Now, doing this won't get you into any trouble at all, and it should say like that unless you're Mr. Ent who got an error with his Penguins of Madagascar review, and doing this 13+ thing will allow all your videos to gain views, comments, and every other cool thing. YouTube has, however, marked down videos that are clearly not for kids, and that could lead to YouTube getting sued again before spring comes. Yes, memeing that Family Guy, Rick and Morty, Cans Without Labels, and My Little Pony cupcakes are all for kids is hilarious, but it's a distraction from the main problem. As in, kids are still getting exposed to the disturbing shit on the internet still, despite the fact that YouTube was sued because kids were exposed to disturbing shit on the internet. So if anyone needs to worry, it's not us, the YouTubers. It's YouTube itself. I don't know if the site could ever get sued to being shut down, but right now there's no plans for this site going down. We'll talk about alternatives another day, but just know that I'm still gonna make 100 Ryan animation reviews total before I am done. And watch my COPPA video to know why we're safe. Okay? Okay, good, okay. You know, it's a new decade, and as much fun as it would be to talk about some recent news shows like The Owl House, which I heard is amazing, or that new Thundercats reboot, which everyone is shitting on for my guess is because it's different than the original show, but instead of talking about the present, I'd rather review whatever the fuck I want. And I want to review Scooby-Doo because I'm in the mood for it. You know, a part of me thinks that every animation critic should review or at least talk about Scooby-Doo sometime in their lifetime. It's one of the most popular products in animation history, and I like the franchise. Scooby-Doo has both TV shows and movies, and I thought for fun we should take a look at these as a whole. Not show by show or movie by movie, but a general idea, and only do an in-depth review on each of their works. Today we'll talk about Scooby-Doo TV shows as a whole, and the next round of animation review will be on its movies. The TV show came out before the movies, so it makes sense in my eyes. The original Scooby-Doo is 50 years old now, first aired in 1969. As for the show itself, I like it. I think it still holds up to this day with clever mystery solving, well-written characters, and it even makes me laugh. The only thing that doesn't hold up is the use of the laugh track.
And all because you had to stay and see Star, Dog Ranger of the North Woods, twice.
Yeah, I don't like laugh tracks. Not the worst thing in the world, but it does insult the audience's intelligence. Luckily for us, Scooby-Doo as a whole didn't use laugh tracks after the 70s ended. The 70s were not a good decade for Scooby-Doo, unfortunately, or rather Hanna-Barbera as a whole. The 70s is most often known for being the worst decade in animation history. People say that the 2010s were the worst, and some even say the 2000s, but at least the decades do have more than 5 good shows. The 70s does not. 99% of everything on was crap. There's a lot to say on the decade, but let's focus on Scooby-Doo as a whole for this decade. There were dozens upon dozens of Scooby-Doo ripoffs in this decade. To put it simply, they were so similar to Scooby-Doo that Hanna-Barbera could sue these people in court for copyright infringement and win instantly. Except the fact that Hanna-Barbera made all of these shows as well. There were shows like The Funky Phantom and Goober and the Ghost Chasers, The Amazing Chan and the Chan Chan and Scooby-Doo, but if there are as many kids as the Loud House doing all the detective work. My favorite version of these is Clue Club, which is basically Scooby-Doo, but with 2 dogs! And one of those dogs is Tigger! Now that's original! No, wait, I know something even better. Fang Face! Fuck having a talking psychic dog, we got a fucking werewolf! And yes, there were also Scooby-Doo shows in themselves, like introducing Scrappy-Doo, one of the most hated characters of all time. Probably the worst decision to the Scooby-Doo franchise of the 70s. No way. That goes to Scooby-Dumb. No, I'm not making this shit up. Scooby-Doo has a cousin named Scooby-Dumb.
Dum 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 dum. You call Scooby-Dum. Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Dooby-Dum. Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Scooby-Dooby-Dum. Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
Is this parody? Then came the 1980s with a pup named Scooby-Doo. Personally, I love this show. I rewatched this show recently and I really found it funny and charming. It's a great way to make a cast of characters and babyfy them. Although Fred's an idiot, even though they're like 10 years old, but whatever. And Shaggy is just amazing. In fact, this show holds up better now, 30 years later, than it did in the 80s. It captures the charm of the original Scooby-Doo and is a great parody of itself. It might just be my favorite cartoon from the 1980s. No new shows came out at all in the 1990s. In the 2000s, we got 2 new shows. What's New Scooby-Doo and Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. What's New Scooby-Doo is definitely the version that you should watch if you want to get into Scooby-Doo as a whole. It also has a kick-ass theme song. It's probably the most Scooby-Doo of the Scooby-Doo shows. It's honestly what I think of immediately when I think of a good Scooby-Doo. Then the other 2000 show was Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue, which is what we're going to review today on my animation reviews. As for the 3 shows that came out last decade, Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated I have not seen, but I heard is mixed. Be Cool Scooby-Doo I heard is good as well, but I have not seen. The Family Guy art style does distract me though. I will be 100% honest about this, and that I hate Family Guy's art style. And then there was also Scooby-Doo Guess Who, which I have seen and is amazing. It's a mix of new and old. And my personal favorite episodes are the ones with Wonder Woman and the one with Batman/the Joker. Today, however, we go in depth with the worst Scooby-Doo of them all. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. And I have just one question with the show. Why the fuck did anybody think this show was a good idea? There are so many things wrong with this show that I don't know where to start. You know what? The theme song always comes first, so why don't we talk about that first?
Shaggy, Scooby-Doo, get a clue. We're on the road again with the teller to the end.
Have you guys ever heard of a song that was trying to get a rise out of you, or just piss you off in general? Because that's what this song sounds like.
I'm gonna sing this song all day long.
It's like a little kid saying, "I'm not gonna touch you" in a car ride over and over again. I can't figure out what the hell is going on in the intro other than Shaggy and Scooby-Doo inventing a new typewriter dance. I mean, those silhouettes are all the villains and the robot named Robbie, but other than that, it's just random. This is a funny song to listen to. It's a so bad it's good kind of song, and of course there's this. It's so much fun to mock. It's so much fun. The singer halfway through the song sounds angry, wants to kill everybody because he realized what he's doing with his life. It's like he hates his job, his life, and the original song that it's based off of. And yes, this is ripped off the song One Fine Day from Offspring. This dancing is really easy to make fun of, I swear. Sometime later this summer, I'm gonna fucking do this dance in live action. I want to make fun of this in a real life parody. This is the perfect song to watch with your friends and blast the shit out of it. If someone have never heard this song before, tell them that it's good, and then just film their reaction to it. Can you please do that to one of your friends and send it to me, please? Please? I absolutely need to after listening to this song 50 fucking times. Over 50 times. Keep in mind, I have listened to this song over 50 fucking times. This is not in the script, but I had to say it right now. That would make my day just to see their funny reactions. Just don't be surprised if they smack you during production for getting triggered such an awful motherfucking garbage song. Religious people always like to question, what the hell is hell going to be like? Well, I don't know what it's like or if it's even real, but what I do know is if it's real, this is the song that plays in hell for all eternity. Wow, I just wrote a whole page on just the theme song alone. So what about the actual show with Scooby and the gang? Well, actually, only Shaggy and Scooby-Doo are in this show as a whole. So yeah, we're gonna go with the characters next. Everyone is awful, everyone is awful, everyone is awful! I hate literally every character of the show. So, how do I sum up Shaggy and Scooby-Doo as a whole? Oh, I know! Take SpongeBob and Patrick, and I'm talking about their worst episodes. A Friendly Game, Breath of Fresh Squidward, Cephalopod Lodge, Toy Store Doom, Pineapple Fever, Face Freeze, Good Neighbors, Sly Whistle Stooges, The Thing, That Sinking Feeling, Squid Baby, Shuffleboarding. You know those dozen episodes I just listed out of the 262 current episodes of the whole show? Well, imagine if every episode was like that. Every episode of Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue is basically SpongeBob and Patrick annoy the fuck out of everyone. Usually just to one target, different in each and every episode, but done worse here since each episode is 22 minutes long. Shaggy is up first, and oh my fucking god, I hate his voice! I cannot stress this enough. If I were to do a Ryan Animation review on the top 10 worst voices in animation, well, characters from Control Alt Delete and Bunsen and the Beast would be worse. But those two shows, Bunsen and the Beast, Control Alt Delete, they are like the only characters that have worse voices. And I don't know why Shaggy sounds like shit in the show because the voice for him is Scott Manville, the guy who does Robin from Teen Titans.
Huh, pizza. Sweet. You know, Robbins, the mask makes me feel cool too.
And heck, even in Teen Titans Go, I actually like how Robin sounds in that show.
Sorry about that, guys. I really thought my core personality traits would be cooler.
I know that Teen Titans Go is overhated, and I understand why for its humor and terrible writing, but if I can give that show credit, the animation is the best part of that show, but the second best thing about it is the voice acting. The characters don't sound annoying. Each of their lines I hear, I understand what they're saying. Their mics aren't broken. It actually sounds pleasant to listen to. It's actually 100% good in the audio department. Yes, in this review, I am complimenting Teen Titans Go, and that show also has better writing. So that raises the question, which show is worse? Well, it's hard to answer, honestly. Teen Titans Go is more trolling to its audience and cares less about them, and insults them and gives them contempt like a kid's version of Family Guy. But I at least can figure out what's going on in each episode. And even if they attempt something cliche, it's done in ways that I've never seen them done before. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo doesn't directly insult its audience, but it seems to want to physically hurt its audience. I mean, listen to how Shaggy sounds in this show.
Well, don't feel too bad. This taco smells like your feet. You just add a dash of this or that, and you can whip up a Scooby snack for anything. It's time for phase 2 of the greatest scientific breakthrough since microwavable bacon.
If any characters sounded like that, it would be a sign to me that they want to put their audience in pain, and I don't get why. Every other Shaggy incarnation never sounded this bad. Not even the live-action shit. Why does he sound awful here? I remember people saying that this show has the actors based off their live-action roles, but his live-action stuff didn't sound this awful. And you know, I think I discovered something new during this review. Some people have always stated that kids that sound like adults are terrible voices, but I never found that a problem. And Mr. Enter once saying that a voice actor using the same role in every other role of other shows, like the Patrick Warburton thing, honestly, I never did find that a problem. But I think I discovered a brand new problem. When a voice actor I actually like uses voices for other shows and uses them as annoyingly as possible. And this is the worst in that example. There is no competition. And this can happen with females as well. I like the actress Amy Poehler, and I really love her voice for Inside Out. But I, for the life of me, cannot stand Bessie's voice. It is fucking awful. But Joy, I still do like, thankfully. Shaggy is the worst character of this show solely for his awful voice acting. Let me put it like this. Shaggy can barely speak English in this show, to the point that I actually had to question when watching some of the episodes if this was the English dub. It was, and when I found that out, I wanted to die. And you want more proof on him being garbage at English? Scooby, the dog, has better English than Shaggy himself. And no, Scooby can't speak English that well either.
Hey, everybody! You'll never believe it! Like, wow! Like Rich, my uncle!
It's Shaggy. He's saying something about his Uncle Rich.
His uncle's name is Albert.
I'm having trouble speaking clearly, Scoob.
Oh, trust me, I watched all 26 of your motherfucking episodes of Shaggy and Scooby-Doo get a fucking clue. I know you have a problem, and yet you state this like in the first 30 seconds of your first episode.
Maybe he's speaking in secret code.
You know, I would allow that for the bad voice acting if this gonna go on for 26 episodes.
Shaggy's uncle left him $1 billion and now we're rich.
Look, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm just harping on the voice acting, but you have to remember, Shaggy is our protagonist, and he speaks a lot. And when his voice is so bad that nails on the chalkboard sound better, and even the song 433 is better, there is something wrong with you. Remember, this show is 26 episodes, each 22 minutes long. That's about 13 hours of your life wasted. 13 hours of some of the worst voice acting I have ever heard in animation history. Oh, by the way, Red Herring from A Pup Named Scooby-Doo is also the Shaggy voice in this show. Once again, he sounds better there. To end off talking about Shaggy, I'm just gonna say I'd rather hear this.
I'm gonna sing this song all day long.
So for Scooby-Doo in this show, The gimmick is that he can eat Scooby snacks that are created by Uncle Albert, and he gets to transform to whoever the plot demands him to. Oh, and there's this.
If only Velma was here, she'd use that computer brain of hers, and then she'd say, Jinkies!
Yeah, that happens in the first few episodes, but the snack things happens in every episode. Here's the thing, Scooby-Doo is arguably cliche as fuck, and I definitely understand that. However, even with this in mind, each episode ending off solving the bad guy, what most Scooby-Doo show episodes do is actually have a fun adventure prior, delve more into characters, hell, even add guest celebrities like Batman, Wonder Woman, and Ricky Gervais, and throw in comedy and even self-awareness jokes like in A Pup Named Scooby-Doo. But when you have every episode with the solution of Scooby eats a Scooby snack and saves the day, you get boring. I mean, they try to make it unique by giving Scooby different powers like hyperspeed, strength, and being smart. The gimmick is that Scooby eats these snacks, and they last as long as he doesn't burp and digestion. So they last for, I guess, anywhere from 15 seconds to 1 minute. Even though it takes 6 to 8 hours normally to digest food, but whatever. It's not worth bringing up every single inconsistency with this show. There's nothing unique about these powers though. Oh wait, I take that back. There is something unique about the bones, and it's that it can transform Scooby into deviant fetishes. Some of the animation of this show looks like fetish art.
Scoob, tell me you didn't steal a piece of that super blimp snack?
Light Scoob, you look like someone's fetish drawing from DeviantArt.
Well, it's at least better than adult assholes that like adults in diapers.
I didn't steal a piece of that super blimp snack.
And Scooby's stuttering was done better with Squidward.
Like, what's the message, Roby?
It is a holographic transmission.
A roller what?
Also, Band Geeks came out 5 years prior to Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, so it is a ripoff. What about everyone else? Well, we got these henchmen that all have numbers. Number 2 could just fuck off and die, because I hate literally everything about him. He is not humor, he is anti-humor. Basically, his whole point is that he tries to be as funny as possible, but being as unfunny as possible.
Break it down on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3!
And that's what he's like for 13 hours! Robbie is the robot butler. I thought at first he was only gonna be in the first episode and that was it, but no, they make him overstay his welcome. He's in every episode, and he's not funny once. But believe it or not, that's not the part that pissed me off the most about him. It's this fact.
Welcome guests.
It's okay, Scoob. It's just Roby, Uncle Albert's very first invention.
It's clear to me that the people behind this show do not understand the concept of inventions. You don't just have the very first thing that you invented as your best work. Usually your first invention is something you give up on since it doesn't interest you, it doesn't work, or it explodes. It shouldn't be something that is instantly successful. You need to do that with multiple inventions. Imagine if in something like Meet the Robinsons or Jimmy Neutron, Louis or Jimmy had their first invention ever and it stuck with them forever, with them no longer needing to do anything else. No need for more inventions, no explosions as hookups, just one thing and all is good. That'd be stupid on multiple levels. As for Robbie's personality, he's a robot that screws up. Considering that My Life as a Teenage Robot was on at the time, you could just be watching that show and get a much better experience. You know, provide that Nick didn't bury the show and delay the 3rd season for years. Then there's the villain of the show, Dr. Phineas Fives. I'm honestly more surprised that no one has made a joke yet on Phineas and Ferb since the villain has the same name as Phineas. As for his character, he's German, and he's a prima donna, and a clean freak, for 26 episodes. Yeah, about that. You know how Scooby-Doo as a whole, when the villain does a villain thing in the movies or TV shows, they get stopped in that episode/movie and they never do evil again, and they rightfully go to prison for it, mostly for robbing or scaring people? Well, imagine that if they didn't stop the villains and just let them get away each time, and then we'll have to return by next week, for 2 years straight, because that's what Phineas is. I hate this show. Oh, so that's why people hate the Diamonds from Steven Universe. I see now. And finally, there's Albert. And people say that Pink Diamond was garbage. So he disguises himself as Trebla, and yes, that's his name spelled backwards. And he has his disguised Dr. Trebla self, the voice of the annoying Shaggy, while him as Albert with the voice of the original Shaggy. He basically makes snacks for Scooby that gives him superpowers. By the way, the snacks never have labels until the series finale. Throughout the series, they just have the letter S on them. Shaggy somehow knows the difference between each bone because And he's essentially has been helping out the villain for 2 years, harming others. Nice uncle you got there, Shaggy. He only gives money to you and not your friends. And that's sad, considering that Fanboy and Chum Chum are smarter than you two in this version of the show. That reminds me, you might notice that Fred, Velma, and Daphne are not in the show beyond the first episode. That's because they wanted to make Scooby-Doo without Fred, Velma, and Daphne. Wanted to only use the 2 funny characters, even though I think all 5 of them are funny in almost every other Scooby-Doo show. So in the first few episodes, they have Shaggy act like the other members of the gang. And it's weird as fuck.
Reverse the shrinking ray, Scoob!
But as we learned from Planet Sheen, making Jimmy Neutron without Jimmy Neutron is a terrible idea. And I imagine Ed, Edd and Eddy without the Eds would be garbage as well. Especially since the only good characters of that show are the Eds. And why not have them in this show? There wasn't a controversy with the actors. They weren't captured in the show, which would actually make sense. Fuck! They say this at the very end of the first episode.
Just so you know, you can always count on us for help.
And then we never see them again. Except for maybe one more episode, I believe, but I don't 100% fully remember. No, I am not going back to watching this show. And wouldn't have them along save the day? Oh, and by the way, Fred owns the Mystery Machine. He never stated that Shaggy had the right to use it, or even transform it into whatever the fuck Shaggy wanted it to. By the way, remember Shaggy doing this shit to the Mystery Machine later because the next animation review is gonna make this scene extremely important?
I used a few Franklins to trick out the Mystery Machine.
Whoa.
Why is this show different? Being different in of itself is not an end goal. But, okay, the Scooby Gang being in their early 20s solving mysteries can get tiring. So how do you change it up? Simple. Make it interesting and investing. That's what made a pup named Scooby-Doo work. It didn't work just because it changed up the formula. It worked because it was able to do jokes with kids that you couldn't do as adults. It having a higher animation budget also allowed better facial expressions and better written stories. With Shaggy and Scooby-Doo having the worst Scooby-Doo animations of all time, you don't get that kind of experience. Oh, and that reminds me, you probably have noticed this throughout the whole animation review, and yet I haven't talked about it yet. The animation. The animation is awful. This is the worst animation ever for Scooby-Doo, period. Even with the movie that I plan on reviewing for my next animation review in terms of Scooby-Doo, this is the worst. Even in stills, the art style is just awful. But in animation, the movies are just some of the worst. Take episode 1 for example. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo need to use a remote to open the lab and stop the bad guys from hurting them. They just showed them throwing away the same remote each and every time, despite the fact that the remotes on the table all look different and don't deplete after each throw. And sometimes you might accidentally think not only does the remote in their hands look more like cell phones of today, but also it feels like they put the remote back in each time because the animation is that choppy. And it's all throughout the show. I mean, probably my personal least favorite of it is from the final episode when Robbie goes down the stairs.
Good news, Nephew Shaggy and Ruby Roo. I have reassembled the snack bot and added a pudding spout.
They literally use the same in-between and tweet motion to make Robbie go down the steps. It looks more like he's rocking back and forth on a boat, not going down the steps. I know that he's a robot, but it looks lazy as fuck. And at times, the animation feels stupid.
Right time to head off to Mount Zeriodolweizen!
Fuck it. This is so stupid, I'm playing this over it. And then there are the episodes and stories, and I really don't have much to say compared to anything else. That's because this is one of the most boring shows I ever seen in my life. I mean no exaggeration that I find this show more boring, just worse overall than any of the Scooby-Doo knockoffs of the 1970s. And even worse animation as well. At least those shows had no budget for animation. Shaggy and Scooby-Doo had a budget but used Flash for cuts. If someone were to ask me what was the most lazy Flash show ever, well, that would be Pixel Pinky. But if someone were to ask me what I think of what first comes to my mind on Flash being used to cut costs and productions, Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue is the show that I think of the most. As for the cliche and boring plots, how about an episode where Shaggy and Scooby shrink each other and decide the best way to stop the bad guys is by not shrinking them, but rather themselves? An episode where the two stop an avalanche? An episode about snooty people? How about an episode where Shaggy and Scooby shrink each other and decide the best way to stop the bad guys is by not shrinking them, but rather themselves? An episode where the two stop an avalanche? An episode about snooty people? An episode where Shaggy and Scooby get a warning from their neighbor about being sent away, and the two treat him like Squidward and them acting like SpongeBob and Patrick for the whole episode? A virus that takes over electronics? An episode about someone afraid of lightning getting over themselves? Saving the rainforest? A parody of Scooby-Doo itself? Wait, what? A cooking show episode? How about a Star Wars parody? A racing episode? How about controlling a giant robot? A body swap episode? An episode about the main character building an amusement park, revealing that the main villain hates dogs? How about an episode where the main characters go inside someone to stop a virus? How about controlling a small robot? A cloning episode? A cruise episode? The villain living with the good guys? An episode about movie characters coming to life? Someone switches to the dark side? Character gets super intelligence? Messing with a bull? Dealing with hippies? Do any of these sound original? No. Not a single plot is new and original. And that's every single episode. I can like these things if they did something new with them, like say a pup named Scooby-Doo or even Jimmy Neutron, but they don't here. And I watch all 26 episodes. Not one episode is worth watching, because I don't give a shit about spoilers, and since we're near the end of the review, let's talk about the series finale. So in the final episode of the show, it turns out that this doctor named Treblaw, the scientist, was Albert in disguise. He's been working with Dr. Phineas for the past few years, terrorizing Scooby and Shaggy trying to destroy the world. They don't imply that here, but that's the technical truth. And then they are able to get out of there, stop the villain, assume that he dies, and goes to jail. We see police officers in a fire truck, but no action done. And that's Shaggy and Scooby-Doo Get a Clue. For a comedy show, this show is not funny. I did laugh one time at this joke in episode 3, how this one guy had to choose between getting a scholar and getting free ice cream, and he was disappointed in that, but it did get a laugh out of me.
Would you rather have ice cream or $1 million grant?
But that's like the only joke that I remember laughing at. Except maybe also one in episode 8 via the flashback episode. And yes, they make this show canon to the other shows and movies with the flashback clip that they play. Oh, and by the way, for a show about mysteries, this show is a moron to mysteries. Episode 8, they want you to guess who the villain is, and they're being 100% serious about it. But the only villain in the show is Phineas and Ferb!
Ferb? I know we're gonna do that.
This Ryan Animation review is supported by my Patreon supporters. If you like this review, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell as well as to receive future YouTube video notifications. Please do, it helps with my videos. Next time on Ryan Animation Reviews, we're gonna review the worst Scooby-Doo movie of all time. This video was edited by Ouija Slayer, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Star Giant Productions out.